Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today I wanted to share with you my 2020 reading goals. So my reading goals for the next year. And I did not yet film a video to kind of recap how I did with my reading goals for 2019, but that will be coming together with all my best and worst books of 2019 at the beginning of 2020, because I just want to give myself until the 31st of December to just read as much as I can and then recap everything once that is done. However, I guess there will be some spoilers how I did with the goals so far, and I think they won't change much. But anyway, let me just get into my reading goals. First, book buying ban. I had a book buying ban in 2019. I think I said I'd have to read 2 books off of my TBR shelf before I'm allowed to buy a new book. I threw that out of the window pretty soon, and so I do not think that I will put myself on any book buying bans in 2020. However, what I do want to try, what I kind of changed my book buying ban to in 2019 as well, is I want to try to not buy any books that I won't read right away. Unless it's like for a readathon and I know I will read all of the books during the readathon. So like buying only 1 book at a time, and at the end of 2020 not have added to my TBR, so to speak. And the only kind of exception I will put on that is kind of special editions to classics or to books that I love, where I do not necessarily plan on reading that book in 2020, but I have already read it. So yeah, that's as far as book buying ban goes, and of course that is to reduce my TBR. And that brings me to my second goal for 2020, which is once again trying to reduce my TBR shelf. I won't try to get like to 0 books on my TBR shelf, because I don't know, it just doesn't seem that motivating to me, because I still have around 70 books on there, even though I did get a good chunk of them read. But to help me with that, I once again have my TBR chart here. I still need to sort out some of the books that I read from my TBR shelf that I didn't read as part of my monthly TBR chart pick. And I will do the same thing again with this TBR chart pick as I did last year. I will pick 3 books at the beginning of each month, and then I will choose one of those books to read that month from my TBR chart. And the books that I have in here are sometimes even rereads, like when I feel the need to reread a book before I go into one of the last books of a series that I have on my shelf or something like that. And I will again also, if I pick like 1001 Nights or something like that, not read the whole book, because it's like 2,000 page books, tomes, so like I would just read a few stories out of that book if that's the case. So yeah, same deal with my TBR chart next year as it was this year. But then I also do have a second kind of TBR chart thingy, and that is because I noticed that I have a lot of series on my shelves that are unfinished that I do intend to finish. And by the way, just for myself to keep track of things and just to kind of see where I'm at, I will do again an unfinished series video, and maybe also a finished series video that I will upload maybe at the end of this month or sometime in the beginning of January. So that's coming. But anyway, I wanted to finish or like make some progress with my series. So I have this cute little cauldron. By the way, I got this from my grandma. Well, I didn't get it from her. My grandma moved into a retirement home, and so my mom and me were cleaning out her flat. And I saw this and I didn't know what I would do with it, but I absolutely wanted it because it's a motherfucking cauldron. And then I was like, maybe to use it for my series. So I already have the names of all the unfinished series that I have on my shelf, and I will pick one each month. And by the way, it won't be my goal if I pick a series that I'll finish the whole series that month, but just the next book that I have in that series that I have to read. And if it's the last book, then great, then I can remove the series from my little cauldron. And if not, then great, it'll just go back in and I'll continue on if either I want to continue on, maybe I'll just binge the whole series right away anyway, and if not, then I'll decide to DNF it, or I'll just pick it whenever again. I probably won't finish all of my series this year because I kind of did a little tally, and I have, I think, again, also over 70 books that are left in series. So yeah, but I just want to continue. I want to continue and at least finish a few of them or DNF a few of them. Then also in terms of series, I want to finish the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. And I have by now read 3 books, so there's 12 books left, which perfectly adds up to 1 book a month. And I hope I will do it. I want to try to get at least to book 12, but I will do my best to read 1 book each month. Or maybe halfway through I'll just decide that it isn't the series for me after all and I'll DNF it. But yeah, that's definitely a goal that I want to achieve next year as well. Then also something that I want to do monthly is I want to read 1 book each month that is not fantasy. Because in the past 2 months I read quite a few either not really fantasy but more like literary fiction type books, or books that are classics, and I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I do need to branch out more. So I decided to read 1 book each month that isn't fantasy, preferably either literary fiction or classics, but I will just keep an open mind to any genre, except for YA romances, contemporary romances, because they're easy enough to read anyway, but I want to read 1 book each month that's gonna challenge me and really challenge me or make me think or something along those lines. And then one thing that is kind of a bit of a whimsical thing that I just randomly decided to do is I want to read Le Mort d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory next year. It's a hefty book, it's a hefty classic, and so even though it's only 800 pages, so 1 year seems a bit much to give myself to read it, I think it's going to be written kind of very old-timey, so I want to give myself the whole year to read it. And yeah, I definitely want to read it. I kind of also felt the need again to read it after reading the Guinevere Deception, because I have read my fair share of Arthurian legends by now, but I still haven't read the original, and that just seems a shame. And then the last thing I want to quickly go through is the rereads that I'm planning next year. The first reread that is definitely going to happen is the Black Jewel series by Anne Bishop. I have already read these 3 books, the original trilogy, this month, but I'm not gonna finish all 9 books in December. And so I have until March, which is when the new book comes out, to reread the other 6, and I think it'll easily be done because I can basically read these books in 1 or 2 days because I know them so well by now. So yeah, that's my first reread. Then the second reread is for the Stormlight Archive series, because if I remember correctly, Stormlight 4 is supposed to be published sometime in 2020, probably late 2020 or early 2021. So I wanna reread all of the books until then, the 3 first books in the series. And yeah, so that's something that's gonna happen, but I will probably wait to start the reread until we get a more sure date of when the 4th book is gonna be published. And then the last reread, that again depends on if we get any news on the date of when the new book is going to come out, is The Kingkiller Chronicles, so The Name of the Wind, and The Wise Man's Fear, because even though we still haven't gotten any news, on Amazon and on Goodreads, the date for the release of Doors of Stone is set, I think, to the 20th of August of 2020. But we still haven't got any news from Patrick Rothfuss, and we still haven't got any news from the publisher. So I will wait to start rereading this until we get news. And if it so happens that this year is going to be the year when Doors of Stone will finally be published, that I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic, and I'm going to reread the first 2 books in the series and maybe A Slow Regard of Silent Things. We'll see. And then actually that wasn't the last thing, but of course the most important thing, will I set a reading challenge for myself? And I decided to, yes. this year's reading challenge was really successful. I had 50 books set. So far I read 65, and so I do want to set myself a reading challenge again, and I want to set myself the reading challenge of 60 books, and maybe, fingers crossed, even 60 books that don't include rereads. So yeah, but I'm just going for 60 books for now because I managed it this year, and I don't want to set like too high goals where I just feel like I need to reach those goals, because it's all supposed to be fun and games in the end. So yeah, 60 goals, which maybe will be without rereads. And yeah, that was it for this video. Tell me in the comments down below what your reading goals for 2020 are. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media are in the description box down below, so go and check those out. And I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!